Hello, angels. I'm Miss Quiet Queen, and you are now tuned into the Quiet Queen Project. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys coming back to my channel and check me out. Now, I want to talk to you today about the vegan challenge or just being or becoming vegan, period. Okay. I appreciate people, whoever it was that created the vegan challenge. But what I couldn't understand, what I don't understand is why give a challenge to someone or suggest a challenge and you don't explain the history behind veganism itself. Now, I don't know the entire history or because there are different histories, but I want to talk about the root history of being a vegan, where it truly originated from, why it exists, and what exactly it means, and your responsibility as a vegan. I suggest that you do not become vegan unless you are ready to handle the responsibilities of being a vegan. And when I say responsibilities, I mean the spiritual responsibilities of becoming a vegan. I do agree with many people that the world in which we live now disrespects cattle, have no respect for the appropriate husbandry, if you will, and our cattle and land life is being destroyed by the tens of thousands. And by destroyed, I mean poisoned in so many ways. So I don't like the idea of eating flesh. I do not eat beef. I haven't eaten beef in years. Years. It's been years. The first time I stopped eating beef was back in the late 80s. Then I started again in the early 90s and stopped again in the early 2000s or mid 2000s. I don't like it. And I stopped eating it because it was making me sick. It was turning me off. Chicken is starting to do the same thing. All land animals. Marine life is not as polluted as the land animals because man is nature's biggest enemy. And I think it's easier and faster for man to get to cattle and destroy the cattle and poison the cattle. I have, been paying attention energetically to my spirit team, and I was told that when we were kings and queens living in Kush, the Nile, Nubia, Congo, like tens of thousands of years ago, we did eat meat and enjoyed it. The cattle was raised for consumption. The spirits of the cattle, they knew that that was their life. They knew that they were bred to feed. And that's what they wanted to do. I was even download information and shown a historic fish that existed over 150,000 years ago that I named it in my book that I'm writing. I call it the hush mammal or hush fish, because if you listen closely, it goes hush like that. It's a very calming flesh, and the louder it hush, it was like communicating with you, letting you know I am ready for consumption. This is what I was born for. This is what I was bred to do. They're born through the mama fish. They eat. They learn how to survive, and then they go to this special area so that they can be consumed. But so was the animals. When we were kings and queens, we were able to energetically speak to the animals. And this is what they were there for. And the meat was delicious. Nobody injected them with poisons. There was no mad cow disease. There was no tapeworms. You know, I think there were pigs back then too. We ate pig. We ate all of these meats because we took care of them. Now listen, I want to talk. I don't want to veer out too much. Let's talk about um, the VPE. The VPE is a acronym that means vegan plantoid extraterrestrials. The VPE is a energy. They are a collective energy similar to the Akashic records. Okay, they're similar to the Akashic records in that they're not male or female. They are a collective energy, like the mother consciousness, so to speak. But I think they can also be more individual as well as being collective. They're very powerful energies. They exist. They exist to this day. They exist. But you cannot hear them speaking to you because you are eating so much poisoned flesh. Your body really can't handle all of the poisoned flesh that we're eating now. And you really shouldn't eat it. Now, these VPEs, they come from this planet called Vega, VEGA, and the planet is several light years away. I think it's like 10 to 30 light years away from our planet, but it is the closest in our system, and they've been here to planet Earth. It's evident because there's greenery all around. Okay, and these extraterrestrials, the VEP, they're also called vegans. Now, they're not called vegans because of they're called vegans because of where they're from, not because they don't eat meat. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Like, I'm from Ohio, so they'll say I'm an Ohioan, or if you're from Michigan, you're a Michigander. You know what I mean? So they're from the planet Vega, so they're vegans. Not because they don't eat meat, like I said. Now I'm talking about the plants. I'm talking about these energies, and I'm also talking about the plants. The plants, like the trees, these are VPEs. The trees are a VPE. They came, like I said, they were birthed from these extraterrestrials. So they too are an extraterrestrial, planetoid extraterrestrial. That's what these trees are. Now, the VPE, they colonize every planet that they go to by dropping their seeds, their plants, their grass, their trees, the flowers, the fungus, any plant life and other vegetation, okay? If you pay attention to the word planet, you will find the word plant. That's not an accident. Think about it. Oh, wait. Okay. Now, as I was saying earlier, yes, I am peeking at notes. So all the stress I go through sometimes, my memory isn't the best. So I'm looking at my notes, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm making this up, and that's why I keep looking over. I get downloads a lot. Sometimes downloads just come so quickly. I always have to have either a tape recorder or a pen and paper around. And when I find out, most of the time, a lot of times, I come right to you guys and I make a video. This is fresh on my mind. And the energy that I get when I'm getting these downloads is strong, and it helps me to relay the information. Okay, so what I was talking to you about earlier about being a vegan, you should remember that there is a spiritual duty that comes along with abstaining from meat. if you're going to call yourself a vegan, you're going to do the vegan challenge, you better know what you're doing. People just going into this haphazardly. That's why I'm taking my time. I mean, like I said, I don't eat red meat, but I do consume other land animals like turkey, chicken, and seafood. And I would like to cut that out too, but you have to do it in stages. If you can do a cold turkey and be right up there spiritually, then go for it. But there is a spiritual responsibility that comes with being vegan. Now, okay, if you're gonna eat meat, not eat meat. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, plants. I'm gonna tie all of this together. So just have some patience with me, okay? Plants are carnivorous. I'm gonna let you chew on that for a minute. Yeah, that's what I said. Plants eat meat. And I'm not only talking about the Venus flytrap. Yeah, that's a meat-eating plant. And people are like, oh my God, you act like that's the only meat-eating plant. All plants will eat meat. Now, many of them don't, especially if you have house plants, but they still are carnivorous. Put a dead frog in your plant. Put the carcass of a dead frog in your home plant. What do you think will happen? It'll deteriorate. The roots will consume the flesh and feed itself. That's why many years ago, people used to take a dead body and bury the dead body under a tree or next to a tree so that the roots can consume the flesh of that person, of that dead body. And even the bones will begin, because your bones is calcium. So that calcium and potassium will just break down and feed the dirt. It's like compost. So that's what happens when you do that. Remember the story about Nimrod, who many people think December the 25th is what you're really celebrating. Nimrod. Nimrod was a nasty old freaky man who had a Oedipus complex. He loved his mother, and they would have sexual intercourse all the time. And when he died, his mother put a pine tree, which we call evergreens, because evergreen means, it's a tree that never dies because it's always green. And she wanted to keep his memory alive. So symbolically, she put the evergreen tree, which we call a Christmas tree, on top of his body, which she buried in the dirt, so that evergreen tree can absorb his physical body, his flesh. And in doing so, she believed that he lived forever, or had, he was immortal. She believed that made him immortal. So when you go get a Christmas tree, you're actually celebrating Nimrod and his mother's relationship. It's a whole lot of things that they mix up in spirituality and paganism and Christianity. It's all mixed up in there. And I'm sorry to say this, but Christians, when they read the Bible, and it's nothing wrong with it, but you believe everything you read just like that. Oh, that's law. We got to do that. You need to do some research. There's nothing wrong with researching it. Doesn't mean you're going to disrespect Jesus because you're researching. But anyway. So plants are carnivorous. They are carnivorous. Okay, but you yourself must not eat the flesh. If you want to take this vegan challenge and do it the right way, you want to become a vegan, what I'm being told is you need not to eat meat. And I'm going to say something next. It's going to sound kind of contradictory. When I got the information downloaded to me, I'm like, wait, that makes sense. But then I went, whoa, hold on. So what I mean is, he said you must not eat the meat, or no animal byproducts at all. When you do this, the DNA of the VEP starts to take over your body. Okay, all plants, um, their chemical their chemical makeup allows them to produce something called chlorophyll. Look it up. It's very, very. I have a bottle of chlorophyll. I should have brought it out here to show y'all, but I do have a video out on my other channel talking about chlorophyll. It's a blood detergent. It cleanses your blood. Listen to what I'm saying. They told me to tell you that the VPE said, once you eat a plant, the more you consume a plant-based diet, their DNA begins to take over yours, and you begin to have or embody a lot of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll to vegetation and plants is what blood is to humans. Only we have blood and we have the plants. Chlorophyll. If you decide to take the challenge and eat a more plant-based diet, you can be very, very powerful. That's what they say. Have you ever heard people say, well, I haven't eaten meat in a year and I feel, oh my gosh, I feel so connected to nature. I feel my psychic ability is more on point. I don't have headaches anymore. I don't have menstrual cramps anymore. Have y'all heard of that when people say that? That's for real. That's not all in their head because they just want that to happen. You are consuming a plant-based diet, and therefore you are taking on the attributes of that which you're eating. Okay, eat a mad hog all the time. What's going to happen? You got diarrhea. You might pass a bile and see some worms. You are what you eat. Okay? Yes, you are what you eat. So, that's all the notes that I have on that. I know there's a lot more information on this. The spiritual side of it is just that you are heightened. Even though I don't eat red meat and I still eat other land animals, but because I'm connected in other ways and I don't eat all of that other flesh, it's helpful. It's much helpful. Okay, so if you do want to, and I did a video on how to tell if you are advancing spiritually. I should have put this bit in there, but hey, everything happens for a reason and within season, as I always say. So if you want to advance your own spiritual knowledge, there's a whole lot of things that y'all could be doing. A lot of things, and one of the things is in your diet. Don't eat all that garbage. Don't eat all of the sugar and everything, but especially the meat. Now, as I said, don't just go and become a vegan because, only because of what's you see on TV. Yes, I know that the meat and the chicken and there's poison in the water. I know to take some active charcoal if you feel like it's poisoned. But yeah, I know that mass media doesn't make it desirable to me to eat meat. These fast food restaurants, that stuff ain't meat. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I showed you guys where it took my granddaughter to get to a fast food restaurant, and we got what they call a chicken nugget, and one of them looked like a pyramid. And I said, oh, I'm keeping this. And it had a little hole in the center that looked like an eye. I wish I still have it. I don't. Want to know what happened to it? I had it for about a month. I left it in my purse, and I shouldn't have did that because it broke. Yeah. If that is food, why does it break? If it is meat, shouldn't it rot? Shouldn't it mold? It didn't do any of those things. It broke. So I did this again. I got another one and I let it sit out and I got it back and it was hard as a rock. And this is what we're eating. We're consuming this. Okay? Now, you can stop eating meat for that reason, but don't call yourself a vegan unless you are going to put the spiritual aspect in being a vegan. You are not a vegan just because you don't eat meat, just because you don't eat any flesh or any animal byproducts. That alone don't make you vegan. Okay? That plus the spiritual responsibility. And don't ask me, what is spiritual responsibility? I don't know your walk. You need to go into self and ask your higher self and your God source to connect with you and tell you, what is my past? I like to consider veganism. What do I need to do spiritually to be a part of that? Because once you are truly on the spiritual path of being a vegan, some people consider veganism a religion, and it's not really a religion. It is a spiritual path. Once you're on that spiritual path, you need to be ready because stuff is going to be downloaded to you and you ain't going to know where it came from. But it comes from the trees. They're communicating. They're in constant communication. Just because you can't see them communicate don't mean jack. And thank you. I'm looking at one of my favorite trees out there. And she just told me, well, they just told me, don't forget about us. Yeah, so I have a little story to tell you guys before I let you go. I miss story time with y'all. Okay, so you remember I did a video a while back. And I was talking about a tree. I'm pretty sure I took the video down or it's on private. I was talking about a tree that's in front of my yard. A big, beautiful tree. And this tree has a growth coming out of it. It looks like a face. I even took a picture of it and I posted it. Maybe I'll go back out there again. And I'll take the picture of the tree. And I'll take a picture of this little face that's in this tree. When we first moved here, this face on this tree was looking directly, or was pointed directly to my house. It looked like, the face looked like a face of a gargoyle. And I can't explain what that looks like. Just go look up gargoyle, Google gargoyle. And it was just looked like the head of a gargoyle. And I remember coming to the tree and I felt a really negative energy. But I was kind of other than myself. I think, a little bit. I think I drank something. I don't. No, I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. But anyway, that may not have anything to do with this next statement, but this tree was looking right into the house. This was like when I first moved here some years ago, and now the face looks like it's looking down. That's because the tree is still growing. It's still moving. So it looks like it's looking down. But anyway, I will go to this tree. I used to go to this tree and I would feel this energy like, don't come near me. Don't come near me. Leave me alone. And in that video, I was telling you guys about that feeling and that I felt that this mother tree don't like me. I said, she don't like me. I gave her an offering. I did this, I found some marijuana seeds for her, crushed them up and gave them to her as an offering. And I still felt like she didn't like me. So I was like, okay, screw you. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but I didn't want to disrespect nature. So I was like, okay, I mean, I won't come around you or anything like that. But at the same time of me feeling like a negative energy, like she didn't like me, but she was sad for me. She was not sad for me, but sad because she couldn't connect. She wanted to connect, but she couldn't. And I was confused. So until recently, this happened, the thing with the tree happened, I'm going to say about 1.5 years ago. And until maybe 3 days ago, I found out the true story behind that. Put that on properly, I'm going to get to it. Okay. So I was outside. The wind was blowing. The sun was shining. It had just rained. It smelled good outside. And I was in a great place spiritually. I was really connecting. I was walking in the grass. I have a big backyard. I was walking in the grass barefoot, just talking to the blades of grass, talking to the butterflies, talking to the birds, singing to the birds, listening to their song, just enjoying nature, just being around nature, letting the wind hug me. Just letting it hug me like it is now. It's blowing now. As I said that, it started blowing again. And then I walked over. Oh, I looked under my car and I saw something. It was, okay, I'm going to get the story right, y'all. Okay, I'm sorry it's choppy. When I get downloads, I get choppy. It's hard for me to keep the thoughts in order because it comes so fast. Okay, so y'all know I'm doing wands. I create wands, road opener wands. I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, you need to get a wand and create one just for yourself. And I had a thought when he said that, I want a special wand from a tree. I make my wands out of back scratchers. I embellish them and they work. But I was like, yeah, I want one of those too. I want to make one that makes it strong. But I also want one from nature. So when I was out in nature walking around, I was standing in the parking lot and I looked under my car and I saw a stick. And it's not just any kind of stick. It was shaped in a beautiful shape. No, I'm not going to show it to you. And then I saw another piece of something. And I thought, oh my God, what a blessing. This is beautiful. And I was hearing, I said, did this come from you, Mother Tree? And I looked up at this another tree right here. And I could tell that's a male tree. Well, yeah. That's a male tree. I can tell the difference between a male tree and a female tree just by looking at it. So when I asked that tree energetically, not verbalizing it, just really felt the energy of that question to that tree. And he said, that's not for me. And I was looking at it, and I looked over and said, I hope it's from this one. I showed you all a picture of this particular tree where this wand, what I'm calling a wand, where it came from. I showed you all a picture of it, oh my God, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, I took that video down. But this tree, I'll probably show it to you again. I don't mind sharing that. But this particular tree, I can't remember the name of it. I should go ask my husband the name of the tree because it's kind of important. But it came from that tree, and that tree kept talking to me. So listen, this tree that I'm talking about now, I'm looking at it. It is a triplet. This is what I'm told. It's a triplet. Okay, so there's one. Try to imagine this. All right. There's a base. There's a base. Right? I'm looking at it. It's a base, the tree base. And then it goes up, right? Then it goes up for like the base of the tree is like 2 feet long. 2.5 to 3 feet in height off the ground, from the ground. After that 3-foot point, it splits in two. Follow me. It splits in two. On my right, there's a long trunk. It goes way up. That's the male side. Then the other side, where it's split, it goes up for about another 5.5 feet. Then it splits. That's the female. I call it a triplet because I feel like the female is representing 2 feminine energies. And the one next to it, adjacent to it at the trunk, is a masculine energy. They told me their story. All 3 of them told me, we're dying. And I said, no, you're beautiful. How could you be dying? You look amazing. No, we're dying because of where we are. Um, and because of the nutrients, there's not enough nutrients to feed all three of them. The male uh, part of the tree separated itself way back when the tree was really, really young. It didn't want to be attached to them. It had became dominant, where it's stealing most of the nutrients. Yep, it's stealing most of the nutrients, and largely due to the fact, I mean, because it's taking it from them. Its roots is overpowering them. If you could see the roots down in the bottom, that's what it's doing. And also because my husband and his friend cut off branches on the side that I call the female side. So a lot of their branches are gone. But you can look at this tree and you can see a vagina. It looks like a vagina. I can see it from here. It's a couple of spots where the tree, with being that the branches are gone, I can actually see it. It looks like the labia of a woman. On the masculine side, there's nothing. It's smooth, like a shaft of a penis. It's just smooth, straight, and hard. And it kind of leans over a little bit, you know. So anyway, they were telling me their story. The female said, yeah, he doesn't like us. He doesn't want to be around it. He interrupted and said, it's not that I don't like them. It's that I don't want to be here. I don't want to share with them. I want to be on my own. I don't know how it got there's a reason why that happens. You know, it's like a hiccup in nature. I can't really explain it right now. I'll ask. But the female side, the twins, which I call the twins, it's really more like one, but she's bipolar because she has two. You know, she goes up 5.5 to 6 feet up off from the ground, and then she splits. And when she splits, she's like it looks like a V, an upside down triangle. Yep, it has a lot to do with this and this. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Ain't nothing Illuminati about it. Okay? So anyway, she said that we're sad because we love him. And he's our brother, you know. We're sad. We're just so sad. Can you help us? And I'm saying it in words where you can understand. I can't really explain how I heard it and felt it through them, other than that it was energy. And everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything emits energy. All right? So I said, sure, I would help you. What do you want me to do? And the masculine side kept quiet, but the female side said, make us beautiful. We want some plant around us. They were telling me what they wanted me to put around the base of their trunk. They wanted it to look beautiful. And do you know, my wonderful husband, I came in the house and told him that story. He went out not even an hour later. He came back in and said, I cleaned up your tree. I said, you did what? Cleaned up your tree so you can plant and do what you want to do with it. And I was like, that was perfect. Perfect, because energetically they told me that was so perfect because they need the energy, the loving energy of a male and a female. And that was us. So I love that story. And then I stayed there. I was standing. I hugged them. I put my hands on them, my power hand, and I laid hands on the tree, and I inhaled their energy. That's how I was speaking to them. That's how you can speak to trees. You feel them. Let's not say, we say the word speak for the lack of not a lack of a better word. Another word is energy. And if you listen to that word energy, even though energy is spelled with an E, it sounds like energy. Okay? It comes from within. All right? So they were telling me their story and what they wanted me to do, and I said, okay, I'm gonna make it beautiful down there on your base of your trunk there. And I started talking to them, and I looked. I said, what's her story? And I pointed at the tree I was just telling you guys about with that growth on the front. I said, what is she like? And again, the masculine side kept quiet. He had an attitude a little bit. He just really don't want to be there. But anyway, the feminine side of this tree said, she's quite kind, really. And it was almost like I heard a British accent. She's quite kind, really. I said, oh, is she? Yes. And then they began to show me her story. I didn't hear it audibly. I felt her story. I saw her story with my third eye. I saw and felt her story. And her story is when she was really, really young. That tree out there, oh, I'm going to say she's about 80, 85 years old. I think around maybe her 30s, 20s, 30s. There was an energy. There was a lot of energies around. It was I wouldn't call it a gnome. It's some type of energy that I don't know have the name for it. But it visited her, and it was lamenting, and it was confused. Yeah, sometimes energies can lose their way too. Sometimes energetic beings can lose their way. You know, just like when a person passes away from this physical body, their etheric body is confused, especially if they die tragically. They're like, whoa, what happened? Where am I? What do I do? Blah, 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 blah. So it is with other energies as well. There's a lot of different beings. Stop thinking that you, the physical human, is the only being that exists. Just because you don't know about other things, other beings, don't mean that they don't exist. That's like you sticking your head in the sand, like an ostrich. Well, if I don't see it, it can't see me. That's not true. There are other beings. There are other energies. There are other beings out there that we don't know anything about. And we're going to start seeing them. And I'm going to tell you something. The fact that Trump is in office right now, we're going to be introduced, and I don't necessarily, we're going to be introduced to these different aliens, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I don't agree with everything that Trump is saying, but I kind of think he's supposed to be where he is. But I don't want to talk about him right now. So anyway, this energy was lamenting, and it was swimming around her because she was beautiful. She is beautiful. And she took it in because, trees have fairies around them all the time. They're spirits. Well, the spirits of the earth are called gnomes. So that's why I said it might be some type of gnome energy. But she took it in. And so she took it in and nurtured it and fed it and raised it. And it was there for a long time. Now, remember, 1 year is 12 months to us. But I think in their world, a year is much, 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 much longer. If we were to put it in human time, we might say maybe, I don't know, I'm just trying to give you an example, maybe 50 years to one of our years. Okay? So he was there in hundreds of quote unquote tree years. And she didn't really they told me that she didn't really plan to nurse it forever. It was killing her. It's killing her because it's draining. She don't feel like she can be her full potential anymore. And she asked it to leave. It really didn't want to go. So she tricked it one time and said something. Oh God, did they tell me what she said? They didn't tell me what she said. She just got it out of her. And she was happy and she started to flourish again. And then it came back. Oh no, let me in, let me in. Please, I want to come back. Please let me come back. I'm sorry, or whatever. She's like, you didn't do anything wrong. I just, don't want to have your energy inside of me. This is what they were telling me and what I saw. And he would leave and come back, and he would do this a lot. He would just harass. He was stalking her, basically. Yeah, they have. I feel you. I feel you. Okay. They have problems just like we do, especially being in the physical world. But the trees on the astral realm, they're probably doing a whole lot better. Her astral self, yeah, she got an astral self and a eurythmic self. Everything does. Everything does. And we'll talk about that in another video. So she finally gave in and said, oh my God, okay, I'll let you back in just for a while, but then you have to go. He said, okay, because I'm just tired. I want to eat and blah, blah. So he got back inside of her bark, in the core, in her essence. And he made an incantation. And to make a long story a little shorter, he said some words to the fact that I'm never going to leave again. I'm never going to leave. I'm going to stay right here like a thorn in your side. You're never going to get rid of me. I have no place to go. You're all I have. You are my mother, or some words to that effect. And she was, no, please, please. He said, no. She said, well, you're going to kill me. Well, we'll live and die together, some words to the fact like that. And so it stayed. It stayed and it attached itself to her side. And that's how that face just started growing out of this tree. And I will show you the tree. If y'all want to see the tree, let me see if y'all listening to my videos long enough. Some people be clicking off, and that's okay. But I want to hear how many of you really want to see the picture of this face on the tree. Yeah, it has ears. It got a little mouth. It got a big old forehead and a nose. Looks just like a face coming right off her side. Like I said, when I first moved here, the face was looking right in my front porch. Now it's down because she's tilting. You can't really see that she's tilting, but she is. She's dying. She's dying. He's draining her. And she wants me to look, she wants me to make her beautiful too. And I planned to do that. I was planning on putting a fairy garden around her because the way she's sitting inside a case of brick around her roots, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I love that tree. I love, what she's sitting in. But I'm going to go feed her. I'm going to, I think she's been asking me for some chlorophyll. I don't know why a plant would ask me that, but I guess I just said why, because her branches dying. When I look up, her branches are dying. They look like they're dead, and the leaves don't grow, and they're all on the ground and everything. And she has a lot of moss, but I guess moss, I don't know, does moss choke a tree? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I ain't claiming to know. I'm just telling you what I heard, and that is my truth. And for those of you who don't believe me, you know that you're going to go do your little witchy spells to find out my truth, because y'all always do that. What is Quackering's truth? Is she telling the truth? Is that true? I'm not going to get in front of this camera and make up shit. I'm not. The only things that I make up are the stories that I'm writing in my book. But honestly, I feel like these stories that I create and I write, I feel like they're coming from a place that is real. But I only can say that it's fiction because we don't have hard copy evidence that what I'm writing about actually happened. But I do know what I experienced the other day with these trees to be actual factual. And I am so glad that y'all joined me today. Please leave a comment, rate, and subscribe and stay in the light.